It seems to me guys and gals backstage are walking on eggshells. They're trepidatious. They're a little afraid to really go out on a limb because there is no other option. And if they piss somebody, if they tick somebody off here, well then, there goes their career.
Well, don't piss anybody off.
I pissed a lot of people off. I had
I know you have.
I wanted to challenge the locker room.
Well,
go ahead.
You have, this is a different group of guys and gals. It's millennials. They're not as ambitious, quite frankly, and they're not trepidatious at all. I just don't think they necessarily want to reach for that brass ring. The last person who really reached for that brass ring, in all likelihood, was John Cena. Now, there are others coming up now who definitely want to reach for it. Ambrose is one of them. Seth Rollins is another one. Roman Reigns is another one. Bray's another one. So
Bray is another one.
Some people here are chomping at the bit to make a difference. But when you're walking around, backstage, you don't hear as much, camaraderie perhaps and laughter as in your era.
Shenanigans.
But then again, there's some other things that they do.
But you just said this locker room wasn't as ambitious as the one I was in.
I would suggest that's correct.
Why is that?
It's a different. Again, I said it's millennials. It's a different point of view. Well, if you reach for that brass ring and you fall on your butt, no one wants to fail. And there's this feeling that this insecurity that if you fail, you're exposed.
Right.
So I think that's largely pretty much what it is, because you give everybody the opportunities, you give everyone resources, which you never had. The things that we do now from a television production standpoint, social media. Oh my God, social media is huge. It helps talent in so many different ways. It gives them the tools that you didn't have, other people like you did not have. It's utilization of those tools that's very important for talent to use, and they do use them, but not in the way you did.
It seems like Vince McMahon kind of went around that question that Stone Cold asked. That was back in 2014. That was Vince McMahon on the Stone Cold podcast on the WWE Network. I'm going to read you a story now. I'm going to read you a story that was provided to me by Billy from the Dirty Sheets podcast, dirtysheets.net. Please go and check them out. He shot me this story because he knows how adamant I've been about the women's evolution and the fact that I think both Raw and SmackDown, respectively, have been booked like shit when it comes to the women's division. Dave Meltzer is reporting that Sasha Banks versus Bayley has been pulled from the WrestleMania card. We have previously commented on how Meltzer no longer has any sources in the WWE, which is why his accuracy rates right now are at 5 to 10% at best. However, on this occasion, Meltzer's purely speculative guesswork is likely to be right, given how full the WrestleMania card already is. Sasha Banks versus Bayley seemed certain to be on the show, given that the company has been building the match for several months, with our sources, Billy's sources, Dirty Sheet sources, confirming that it 100% was. However, things have significantly changed in recent weeks, with our sources reporting that both girls have significant heat with WWE Creative and that Bayley surprisingly has even more heat on her than Sasha Banks does. Why do they have heat, might you ask? What the fuck could Bayley do to have heat, might you ask? Sasha Banks wouldn't be the first time that it's rumored that Sasha Banks has heat. But what would Sasha Banks do so wrong that she has all this volcanic heat on her? Let's listen. Things turned sour with Bayley in early January when the WWE's 4 horsewomen were told that the 4 horsewomen of WWE versus the 4 horsewomen of MMA was being scrapped in favor of a mixed tag team match featuring Stephanie McMahon going against Ronda Rousey with Kurt Angle and Triple H respectively on each side. This led to Bayley posting a negative tweet about the decision. And what Bayley tweeted out, and I quote, this is what she tweeted out: "I'm starting to see a pattern here. And that was posted on January 11th of this year. That was posted on January 11th of this year. After canceling the Horsewomen versus the Horsewomen, the WWE told Banks and Bayley that they planned to have them face off at WrestleMania in a high-profile match. However, when the pair learned that the company were keeping the title on Alexa Bliss at the Elimination Chamber and were going with Bliss versus Jax for the Raw Women's Championship, both girls, both Banks and Bayley, responded negatively to this creative decision. Sources say that Banks actually went to see Vince McMahon to question what the booking team were doing. Banks then went a step further by going, then this is where she probably fucked up. She went a step further by going public about confronting McMahon in an interview with News Hub. Bayley also publicly criticized the company's handling of her feud with Banks. When asked about facing Banks at WrestleMania, Bayley said, and I quote, "I would love for it to be against Sasha, but I just don't know if there's going to be enough room for us to give that match the time it deserves." The conduct of Banks and Bayley has not endeared them to the WWE officials, with most people just happy to be on WrestleMania's card. See, that's the fucking problem. That is the problem right there. I will touch on that in a second. Most people are just happy to be on the WrestleMania card. There's a feeling that Banks and Bayley are somewhat ungrateful and no longer deserve to be in a one-on-one match. Some even feel the pair deliberately sabotaged the match to avoid wrestling on the pre-show. While Banks versus Bayley hasn't officially been scrapped, as the show won't be timed out until next week, it's highly unlikely that they will face each other, given that their match is certainly no longer a priority at this point. There is so much wrong in that article, and I want to thank Billy again for giving me that article. I was shocked when I read that. I was legitimately shocked. Actually, I was shocked and then appalled at the same time. Like physically ill when I read that. Well, let's dissect this for a second. Okay? So, the Horsewomen match was scrapped. Whatever. I don't really give a shit. Ronda Rousey's there. Shayna Baszler's in NXT. Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir. I don't know how long they're coming along with the wrestling aspect of things. We really haven't heard anything. We don't know if they're trained. Who gives a shit? If it's something that WWE wants to revisit, I'm sure they will do it. We don't care about that. WWE obviously went with Ronda versus Stephanie to tie up loose ends there because it's cool with whatever happened back at WrestleMania 31. It gets Triple H on a marquee match. It gets Kurt Angle back at WrestleMania. Everybody's happy. Whatever. So, Bayley, and I don't even know if you could really read into that. Like, that's really, really, really nitpicking if you're WWE and management on what Bayley tweeted out. I'm starting to see a pattern here. A pattern of what? What is there a pattern of? She could be talking about literally anything. It doesn't necessarily have to mean WWE or creative. So after the Horsewomen versus Horsewomen was canceled, WWE told Banks and Bayley that they planned to have them face off at WrestleMania in a high-profile match. That's their fucking mistake. You don't tell talent that you're going to feature them at WrestleMania of all fucking shows. You don't tell two women who have been the forefront since NXT of this evolution that they're going to be placed in a high-profile match at WrestleMania together, because God knows how important that is for both of them, being what they did in Brooklyn and being that match was named the greatest women's match of all time. You don't tell that to these two women and then go back on that promise. That's WWE's creative and their fuck up. That's terrible. How would you feel if you're a WWE superstar or a wrestler in general, and you're going to be putting a high-profile match at WrestleMania, and then all of a sudden, it's taken away? No, we're going with a different direction. No, you have something planned out, and you fucking stick to the plan. Then they learned that Alexa Bliss is going to keep the title at the Elimination Chamber, and that they were going with Bliss and Nia Jax for WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship. And both girls responded negatively to the news. I'm glad I'm not the only one who doesn't think that Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax should be for the title at WrestleMania. What has Alexa Bliss done since she won that title on Monday Night Raw? Absolutely nothing. I am tired of people telling me that she's brought prestige to the Raw Women's Championship. No, she hasn't. She's done jack shit. And again, before some fucking asshole on social media wants to call me a sexist for no reason, Sasha Banks has done nothing with the title, and it's not her fault. It's WWE management, as you guys are hearing here. Alexa Bliss doesn't deserve the title. Alexa Bliss has done nothing with the title. And again, my fucking Amazon device is going off because I'm mentioning the word Alexa. I apologize. Now I lost my train of thought. She doesn't belong at WrestleMania. Nia Jax has done nothing all year to even warrant a WrestleMania spot for the Raw Women's Championship. You can go back and you can document Alexa Bliss and the matches that she's had. She really hasn't done anything of importance at all since hitting the main roster. Everything she's done in the ring has been mediocre. Naomi, Becky, Nia, even Asuka. I don't even know. I don't really recall if she actually went against Asuka as of yet. I know she's going up against Asuka tonight on Raw. But every woman that she's been in the ring with, Mickie James, whomever, it's mediocre. What was Alexa Bliss's best match? Against Bayley and against Sasha Banks. And that's a fact. Alexa versus Charlotte was even trash at the Survivor Series. Alexa's done nothing with the title. Alexa doesn't belong on Raw as the women's champion. Alexa Bliss right now, and the way she's performed outside of her mic work and outside of her heel persona, has been mediocre. Doesn't really scream WrestleMania worthy to me. So before the fucking goons on social media start claiming that she deserves it, what has she done to deserve the spot that she's in now? Oh, she worked so hard to get here. Yeah, I worked hard to get where I am now. You don't see me claiming that I fucking deserve to be on fucking Sirius XM, or I deserve to be on fucking Monday Night Raw sitting next to fucking Michael Cole. I'm not a fucking idiot. Give me a break. So Sasha Banks and Bayley know that this is a bad decision. Sasha Banks and Bayley know that the outcome of the Elimination Chamber should have been different. Should have been what I stated it should have been. Should have been Bayley winning the title. Sasha Banks was already sitting on those Elimination Chamber steps. What if you put Bayley in that situation to cut the same promo that Alexa Bliss cut? How do you think that would have came off? That would have came off great. Would have given the Elimination Chamber a sense of unpredictability. What did Alexa Bliss do, by the way, in the Elimination Chamber? She was in there for about 3 fucking minutes. Great champion you got there, guys. Great champion. Protected as always. She's the Roman Reigns of the women's division. Bayley cuts that promo. Sasha Banks sitting there listening to this garbage coming out of Bayley's mouth. Heel turn right there. Beat the shit out of Bayley right there. Off to the races. You have a feud. You have a best friend stabbing another best friend in the back, and then the title is on the line. Sasha is so enraged that Bayley won the title that she feels this is her time And she just takes all her anger out on Bayley, spawning a heel turn. Beautiful booking. Easy booking. Simple booking. Logical booking. Now, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax is the way we're going right now. Bayley and Sasha Banks responded negatively. So, Vince McMahon's brass rings, where he just stated to Stone Cold Steve Austin that none of the talent have initiative. They're millennials. Nobody has initiative. Nobody's really grabbed the brass ring and ran with it outside of John Cena. You have guys there that are looking to grab the brass ring and do what Cena did, like Ambrose and Rollins and Reigns, and he mentioned Bray Wyatt. I don't know what the fuck that was about. Whatever. But the brass rings, right? These imaginary brass rings that CM Punk so beautifully stated in his pipe bomb, these imaginary McMahon brass rings that don't exist, you know? Austin asked McMahon about it. Nobody wants to take initiative. So what does Sasha Banks do? She takes fucking initiative. She goes to Vince McMahon, per this report, and asks what is going on with creative. Why are you telling Bayley and I that we have a match and now we're not a priority? Why is Alexa and Nia Jax the championship match when Bayley and Sasha Banks clearly is the better match for that title feud? Now, this is where Banks fucked up. This is where Sasha Banks fucked up. And Sasha Banks is a woman that you can tell by the nature of her attitude when she conducts an interview and when she talks about something passionately, when it concerns herself, the WWE, how she got there, her wrestling ability. You can tell by when this woman speaks, she wants to grab the brass ring and she wants to fucking run as fast as she can with it. It's WWE that won't give her the opportunity to do so. Or better yet, there is no brass ring for her to grab. So I don't know what the fuck she did wrong here outside of going on another publicly, a public forum, news hub apparently, and had an interview with somebody about her going public about confronting Vince McMahon. Now, I heard Vince McMahon likes when people at least challenge a creative decision or challenge something that they think could be better. Don't go in there. I listened to Jim Ross on Edge and Christian's podcast this past week. 2 hours. And he talked about Vince McMahon, and talent confronting Vince McMahon. Don't go into a creative meeting or don't go into Vince McMahon's office, looking to prove him wrong. That will get you nowhere. But at least challenge his decision on something with something that you think could be a little bit better and work as a team. Don't go in there and say, no, your shit sucks. I got something that's better. Let's do my idea instead of yours. That will get you nowhere. So I don't know how that meeting went. But clearly Sasha Banks was adamant enough, just like everybody else with a brain, that this needs to be the priority if you're building towards this from January for WrestleMania. So she fucked up there by going public about confronting Vince McMahon in an interview with News Hub. And then Bayley publicly criticized the company's handling of her and her feud with Sasha Banks. Now, obviously that's a death sentence. If you're going to publicly state that creative is fucking you up, don't do that. But there's only so much that Sasha Banks and especially a Bayley could take. There's only so much that they could take. How do you think Bayley felt after This Is Your Life? How do you think Bayley felt when she made her main roster debut and WWE failed her 2 weeks after she made the main roster and she has yet to recover? Bayley was something special in NXT. Bayley was one of those women that when she came out, you genuinely stopped everything you were doing to watch this woman perform. Now when Bayley comes on television, I change the channel. That's how boring WWE main roster television has turned Bayley. Garbage. And Sasha Banks? Sasha Banks is clearly, and I don't give a shit what anyone states to me on social media or states to me here in the comments section. You know, you guys can suck my dick for the fucking comments that you want to leave. Oh, Sasha Banks sucks. Sasha Banks injured Paige. That has nothing to do with her in-ring ability. I mentioned this again a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to mention it now. Everybody on both shows had their best matches with Sasha Banks. Your precious Alexa Bliss, her best match has been with Sasha Banks. Nia Jax, who's going to be in the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Nobody has brought Nia Jax to a good match except Sasha Banks. Who was Asuka's best match on the main roster? Sasha Banks. Who was Becky's best match on the main roster? Sasha Banks. Who else are we looking at? Who was Charlotte's best match on the main roster? Charlotte hasn't had a good match since Sasha Banks. It's a no-brainer. Who's Bayley's best match been? Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is everybody's best match on the main roster. That's not going to get you top billing at WrestleMania, but I'm trying to prove a point. The match that you got going on now, Alexa versus Nia, or the match that you're building towards, is trash. It's trash. It features a mediocre champion versus a green as fuck challenger. Give me a break. No wonder these women are so frustrated and want to explain themselves publicly on Twitter in an interview. They've been mishandled. They've been mishandled. For whatever WWE's reason is, I don't know. People want to claim I'm a sexist because I stated that the only reason why Alexa Bliss is champion is because she's sexy. Why is Jinder Mahal WWE champion for 6 months in 2017? Why? You think he's champion because he's a great performer? You think he's champion because he's a great heel? Absolutely none of those things. Jinder was champion because of his body. Jinder was champion because of the illegal transformation that he did to his body. And Alexa Bliss is champion right now because of how good she looks and because it's known that someone in creative and Vince McMahon have a thing for blondes. And the reason why I said that last time was because of what Cody Rhodes publicly stated in a letter before he walked out of WWE. He was tired of being turned down and his creative ideas just being ignored because the creative writers at the time were too busy hitting on the developmental women. And if you don't think that type of behavior exists in that company, you are a goddamn fucking fool. Why hasn't Becky Lynch been pushed on television? Huh? Why hasn't Becky Lynch been pushed on television? Becky Lynch is just as attractive as Alexa Bliss. Why is that? Why is that? Because Kevin Dunn doesn't like the way she speaks? Kevin Dunn doesn't like her accents? Kevin Dunn doesn't like the way she just is fun-loving, full of puns, right? Why hasn't Becky Lynch been pushed on television? You don't think that's sexist? Give me a fucking break. Give me a break. Now, this conduct of Banks and Bayley has not been endeared to them. You know, obviously, you're going to go on a public forum and talk about your company in any negative light. Clearly, when they get wind of it, you will be punished. And there's no way around that. But I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Most people say that they're just happy to be on the WrestleMania card. Well, fuck you. You want to settle for mediocrity, then by all means, you settle for mediocrity. Sasha Banks and Bayley, know how important this women's evolution is. Sasha Banks and Bayley know how important WrestleMania is. Excuse me, for them not wanting mediocrity. They have the same mindset as all of us supposed smart marks. They want the best. So excuse me for wanting the fucking best. That's your fucking problem. You settle for garbage. Nobody puts care into anything anymore. When you want to do something, you do it right. The Raw Women's Division has not been done right. The Raw Women's Division is built on a total divas fucking fantasy with Nia Jax. Everybody fat shaming her, and she's crying, and she can't get a date, and she's dating a fireman who fucking, they revealed he did porno. You don't think I watch? I watch the fucking shit. I see the clips. Trash. Poor Nia Jax. Excuse me while I vomit on top of the Roman fucking vomit from 3 weeks ago. No, instead you want to bypass something that the women's evolution was built on. Wrestling. We didn't get here to fucking play Schoolhouse Barbie with Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. We got here based on what Bayley and Sasha Banks did. And the fact that they're not being rewarded for the evolution at WrestleMania for the title is fucking bullshit. Can you blame them for being annoyed? Can you blame them for being frustrated? Can you blame them for sabotaging their match because they know it's not going to be given the fucking care that the Brooklyn match was? Can you blame them for sabotaging the match so that they're not on the pre-show at all? Give me a break. As far as I'm concerned, whatever Bayley and Sasha Banks did, I would have followed it step by step. Fuck being on WrestleMania. Put me in the Battle Royal. But I want a match, and I was promised a match with Bayley. And if it's not going to be given the fucking time it deserves on the main show for the title, then don't put me on the main show at all. What are you going to have them go out there and wrestle 5 minutes? Yeah, what a fucking classic that is. Gonna be talking about that for years to come compared to their Brooklyn match. Fuck out of here. Absolutely fucking bullshit. How people don't speak up about this garbage. Oh, Alexa Bliss is so deserving, man. Alexa Bliss she don't have to do anything. Alexa Bliss doesn't have to do anything. You stand there, champion. Whatever. What has Nia Jax done all year? Nia Jax has won one match all year. One fucking match against a jobber. 2 matches against jobbers. Yep. Nia Jax, number 1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship. Bayley? Who? Fuck out of here, man. Complete trash. Then you want to know why I sit here and shit all over the product. With behavior like that and stories like that, you want me to sit here and be, whatever, man. It's a good idea by WWE to put Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax in the Raw Women's Championship. Fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm done. That's the opening story for Off the Script this Monday. Couldn't do anything yesterday because I was physically exhausted and my allergies were kicking my ass. My allergy medicine did not work. Couldn't breathe. Didn't really even want to sit here and do what I usually do. But today I feel okay. Today I feel not congested yet. But this is episode 213. This is part number 3 for your Monday afternoon. Let's hit the intro. We're going to talk about more Daniel Bryan rumors that are coming out of the woodwork like we haven't fucking talked about it already enough. We're going to talk about that and the possibility of him wrestling at WrestleMania. And one major breakthrough for Daniel Bryan that could Still see him wrestle at WrestleMania. Also, contract news about Daniel Bryan. One major clause has been left off of Daniel Bryan's existing contract, which may mean we could see him wrestle earlier than expected. All this right here on episode 213, part number 3 of your Off the Script. This is March 19th, 2018. Let's hit the intro, and I'll see you guys on the opposite side. Boy, man, you know, a lot of people tend to think that I enjoy yelling. I don't, because it's not how I usually am. If you met me in person, it's not what I do or who I am, but, you know, I do it to get a point across, and I do it because you guys enjoy it, but I really do feel that way about the women's division, and I think that they're being booked and mishandled poorly. And I think Sasha Banks is being handled poorly. I think Bayley's been handled poorly. Yes, I understand Bayley is on a Get Off My TV t-shirt, but that's for nothing that she's done on her own. It's just that's the way WWE has presented her, and I have to follow accordingly. You know? But I hope that these women this year will be given a part of Raw or wherever they may end up. They may end up both going to SmackDown after WrestleMania. I don't know. Wherever they go, I hope that one of them gets what they deserve. Seriously. Coming out of NXT, I don't see how you could fuck up either one of these women. I really don't. You got 4 women's matches on WrestleMania card. You add Bayley and Sasha Banks, that would have been 5 women's matches. Now, that's a little bit overkill if you ask me, but you got the mixed tag with Ronda and Stephanie. You got the 2 women's championship matches. And then you got the Battle Royal. The meaningless Battle Royal now that they got rid of the Fabulous Moolah Memorial Invitational. So it's like, you know, there's not going to be anywhere on that card for Sasha Banks and Bayley. These women have built a storyline from January, and it's not going to be concluded. And usually when we get to WrestleMania, that's when we conclude these storylines. It's just a shame that everybody with a functioning brain knows that is the Raw Women's Championship feud that everybody wants to see. We've said this going back to last year. And WWE has refused to take that belt off Alexa Bliss. And I don't understand why. I just don't understand why. But whatever. That was the story there. Again, thank you to DirtySheets.net for providing me with that exclusive scoop. I wanted to talk about that. Seemingly everybody's talking about Daniel Bryan, man. We're going to touch on Daniel Bryan. I got 3 different pieces of information here on Daniel Bryan. Possible breakthrough in his concussion testing. I got major clause left out of Daniel Bryan's contract. And then I got Daniel Bryan, possible role as a special guest referee at WrestleMania if they do not clear him. I'll give you my thoughts and opinion on all this for the final time, because I'm tired of hearing about it, today on the podcast. I want to thank everybody, man. Today, as you hear this, is the last day. You guys have 9 hours. At midnight, the end of the campaign for the JD Club Gold Foil t-shirt is over. It is over. So you guys have until midnight exactly to get your Gold Foil JD Club t-shirt, man. We sold 82 of them last week. Can we even come close to the 100 in the last remaining hours, man? I would love to sell 18 of them today. I highly doubt that we will. But if you guys have not gotten your t-shirt, I am telling you, this is the last day. You have this day only, this afternoon only, to get your gold foil t-shirts. Do it. It is available right now until midnight, and that is it. It's gone forever. I'll leave you guys a link to that t-shirt. This is what it looks like if you guys don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about. The gold foil limited edition JD Club t-shirt, man. You got 10 hours remaining. I'm going to leave you a link for that down in the comment section, and I'm going to pin it at the top of the comment section. What is also available is what you guys have been going crazy over, man. The number one selling t-shirt this weekend on Barbershop Window. They do it for Roman. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys go and get your t-shirt, man. You guys order it. It will be here before WrestleMania. There's 3 weeks to go. They take 2 weeks to print. You do the math. If you're going to Mania, if you're going to New Orleans, if you're going to a meet and greet, if you're going to WrestleCon, if you're going to Supercard of Honor, if you're going to NXT, if you're going to WrestleMania itself, there's no better accessory than this shirt right here, man. They do it for Roman. Barbershopwindow.com. Thank you to everybody that has bought t-shirts this weekend, man. The number one selling t-shirt on Barbershop Window this weekend is that one right there. They do it for Roman. If you guys want to see the other ones we got available, man, right there, the entire collection of Off the Script merchandise. You guys have been actually going crazy over the Jinder shirt, man. A lot of Jinder sales this weekend, too. Upselling yourself on the Jinder shirt. It's a nice fucking shirt, man. Colors are nice. Clearly says what we all think about Jinder. Get the fuck off my TV. You're a failure. Right there, man. Beautiful. Benched, Eat, Sleep, Bench, Repeat. You guys can go get that one. And the newest one, Get Benched Goon. With the Off the Script logo microphone there, man. Get Benched in red and in Goon in a nice white color font, man. Boom. Beautiful. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. I want to thank everybody for supporting Harry's. I want to thank Sal Rex for getting me these beautiful fucking ads, man. Sal Rex is a beast. He has done things for me this weekend that I have not even asked him to do, man. But that's how good of a fucking supporter he is. Look at him. Gives me this beautiful ad, man. This is an official sponsor for not Barbershop. This is an official sponsor for Off the Script. Barbershop Window, something else completely different. Harry's is the official sponsor of Off the Script for 2018, man. Harrys.com/script, as you guys can see there. Get your free trial shave set. Everything you guys see in that photograph, you're going to get for free. Just use the link. Harrys.com/script. All you guys have to do is pay shipping and handling, and you will have the best shave of your life. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. And there's no brass rings here, man. There's no brass rings. Okay? I'm not going to fucking fill your mind with imaginary fantasies. Okay? What I tell you is the God-honest truth. And when I tell you Harry's is the best shave of your life, you better fucking believe it. Harrys.com/script, man. Sal Rex also made me this beautiful little ad here. We are an official sponsor here, or Audible is an official sponsor. We're an official partner of Audible. AudibleTrial.com/offthescript. You guys can sign up for Audible and get 30 days free using our link right there, man. And on top of that, once you sign up, you're going to get a free audiobook of your choice. And just those 5 there, man, are one of the many options. One of the 190,000 choices to choose from, man. You guys want to get Jericho's book, Justin Roberts' book, Best Seat in the House, Jim Ross's Slobber Knocker, My Life in Wrestling, AJ Lee, Crazy is My Superpower, or you guys want The Life of Shawn Michaels, man. Wrestling for My Life, Shawn Michaels autobiography, man. You guys can get any one of those 5 books plus anything else that your heart desires. AudibleTrial.com/offthescript. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for notification. We are 500 away from 90,000. I'd love to get there before WrestleMania. We got 3 weeks to do it. Tell a friend, man. Tell a friend. Listen to Off the Script. It's the best wrestling podcast on YouTube.com. If you guys want to support the podcast directly, Patreon is always open to everybody. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Let me take a sip of my coffee before it starts getting cold. I had no more K-Cups in my house. I had to go fucking drive to Dunkin' Donuts because I'm a fucking fiend. Ran out of K-Cups because last night, watching Bar Rescue, new episode of Bar Rescue, I'm like, I want some fucking coffee. So I make the last 2 fucking cups of coffee for myself, and I got nothing for this morning. So there you go. I fucked myself over. So I had to go to Dunkin' Donuts this morning. Anyway, man, let's get on with the news. Got some news here for you. This is actually very exciting news, man. I was not thrilled about this greatest Royal Rumble event. I wasn't. I don't really like the name. I don't care for the name. There's only one Royal Rumble, and that happens at the last Sunday in January every single year. This is something completely different, which WWE has already stated has no effect on the regular Royal Rumble that we've seen. But looks like WWE is shaping this up to be a massive event. And whatever Roman Reigns said via the Sam Roberts podcast this past weekend, I certainly hope that Roman Reigns is indeed correct on this being a WWE Network special, because WWE is planning 7 title matches for the greatest Royal Rumble event. It's pretty fucking big, man. Looks like WWE is gearing up for a huge show in Saudi Arabia with the greatest Royal Rumble event. WWE announced this morning that the greatest Royal Rumble on April 27th will feature 7 championship matches. John Cena, Triple H, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, The New Day, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Shinsuke Nakamura are all specifically mentioned as appearing at this time. So there was no mention of Jericho or The Undertaker as of yet, even though there was rumors this past week that Jericho and The Undertaker will be present. But it wouldn't be a huge surprise for Y2J or The Undertaker not to be included in an update at this point, even if they are planning to make the trip. With a 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble match also on the card, some people might need to pull double duty and wrestle twice. They did specify a 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble match, so that should put to rest any of the rumors that they will be making this an intergender contest. That would be awful. I don't know why they would even think that. 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble that included women? Nah. No, we don't need anything like that happening. That would ruin the whole fucking match. At that point, I wouldn't even bother watching. That would just make it unbelievable. In a bad way, by the way. Not unbelievable, in a good way. Because I don't expect, Becky Lynch to be in there with a Big E and expect to eliminate anyone of that size. Like, are you fucking serious? At this rate, WWE really needs to air this event on the WWE Network, and it looks like that they might, being that they're shaping this up to be 7 title matches, heavy. It needs to be shown on the network, and this is why I already explained this. This is why we sign up for the network anyway. We want to see this type of shit. Because with 7 title matches included on this card, who knows what could happen as they try to make a huge impression in that market. We could see some title changes happen on this show. WWE is booking this as a major pay-per-view-esque show, so, they might throw some surprises there, and I hope that they do, and I hope that it's on the network, which is great for everybody. We get another event in April of this magnitude, 7 title matches, large audience in Saudi Arabia, another video for me to do work on, more content for you guys. It's a win-win situation all around. So I hope that we do see it on the WWE Network. We talked about this as a rumor. Not really a rumor. It was just a fucking random idea that I threw out there. I didn't expect anybody to really run with it or even talk about it. We know the Ultimate Deletion is happening on Monday Night Raw tonight. I will be covering it tonight, by the way, because I am excited to see what they do with it. And I will be taking extensive notes on the Ultimate Deletion piece by piece and what happens. But the Ultimate Deletion, being that it's taking place on Monday Night Raw tonight and not at WrestleMania, leaves the door open for Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Instead of putting him in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which I don't even think is official or confirmed at this point. All we know is of the Women's Battle Royal. But what does that leave Bray Wyatt to do at WrestleMania if he is not booked at anything or booked for anything? Or if there's no Battle Royal? What does that mean for Bray Wyatt? Now, despite impressing on Monday Night Raw for the better part of the year, WWE late gave Braun Strowman plans and now are including him in the tag team title situation with 3 weeks left to go. When you consider just how far Braun Strowman has come in such a short amount of time, it's surprising to see that WWE hasn't placed him in a massive match. Universal title. Oh, excuse me, I got some of that Roman sickness still lingering. I'm sorry. people expected him or want him to be in the Universal Championship match, but, a resident failure is residing there. So there's nothing we can do about that. While he was rumored to potentially replace Roman Reigns in his Universal Championship match, clearly that's not happening. Everybody thought that Mr. Bravo was going to uncover details that would sully Roman Reigns' inclusion in the championship match. Bravo ended up being a failure. Bravo ended up not delivering on anything, and WWE is laughing all the way to New Orleans, and they don't really give a shit. So they went ahead with their plans. WrestleMania is intact, although some in the community wanted Roman Reigns to be excommunicated from the main event. Not me. Not me. Believe it or not. I just don't think he deserves to be there. His situation looks to have been cleared up, and WWE is confident of the contest moving forward, as we saw earlier this week on Monday Night Raw, or last week rather. Strowman's plans look to revolve around the Tag Team Championship after he won a Battle Royal all by himself. No, he did not bury the Tag Team division, because the Tag Team division was already buried by Monday Night Raw Creative. So Braun Strowman, could walk in there, and I would be okay with him just destroying everybody. Because the division was destroyed already before Braun Strowman even walked through the curtain. So it's okay by me. It's okay by me. But everybody's wondering who's Braun Strowman's partner going to be. Since then, the fans have been speculating on what the plans are for Braun Strowman at the Superdome, and several options have already been discussed. The original plans revolve around Strowman alongside Sheamus and Cesaro of the Bar, where none of them that would be featured in a match. Instead, they would be involved in an angle, but it sounds like WWE has switched their stance, and a match is now expected to take place. Although the Wrestling Observer newsletter and Dave Meltzer has claimed that only Vince McMahon knows which direction he'll go in as WrestleMania edges closer, one of the options that has reportedly been discussed is that Strowman won't have a partner and that it will be a handicap match. That's the only thing I don't want to have happen. Because, A, I don't want Strowman going in there winning tag team championships on his own. That's not what a tag team should be. B, I don't want one man to bury the Bar. The Bar have been too good. The Bar have been too valuable to WWE. And the Bar have worked their ass off in 2017. And they don't deserve to walk into the biggest event of the year and get buried by one man. And it's not believable that a guy like Cesaro and Sheamus cannot beat Braun Strowman. I don't think Braun Strowman is that tough. Sheamus is just as fucking tough. So is Cesaro. And that's something I don't want to see. Now, Elias has emerged as another name who could potentially team with Strowman, as reports claimed that the tag team will challenge the Bar, and they will challenge for the tag team championships. The Symphony of Destruction. It's got a nice ring to it. But, again, that is not confirmed yet either. However, now, Wrestling Inc. has speculated that Strowman could rely on Bray Wyatt to take on the Bar. Oh, JoJo, do you mind if I team with Braun Strowman, man? I'm gonna have to walk away from that luscious big fat ass, man. But listen, I'll be back. And then you could follow my buzzards anywhere you want, honey. Bray Wyatt will be back, and JoJo's fat ass will have the attention it deserves, man. I just got to go win these tag team titles with my man Braun Strowman, man. Whatever. JoJo's fat ass t-shirt in production, I think. I might take a poll on it. Anyway. As it stands with the rumors, surprisingly, Wyatt is the only one without a match. Like I said, at WrestleMania. If he loses this ultimate deletion, which I expect him to, because I don't think Bray Wyatt's going to go to the Hardy compound and win. What is Bray Wyatt going to do at WrestleMania? Strowman obviously has plans in place, while Luke Harper and Eric Rowan of the Bludgeon Brothers are looking to challenge the Usos in the New Day, possibly in a triple threat match. Triple Threat-a-mania for the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. What I would do is I would have the Bludgeon Brothers beat the New Day decisively, and then I would have them go on to challenge the Usos. 2-on-2, the way it should be. Now, if you're going to do the New Day, the Bludgeon Brothers, and the Usos, then it needs to have some type of stipulation. Maybe a Texas Tornado. I would love that. I don't mind that at all. But, WWE's infatuation with the New Day, they don't want the New Day off the card. So we're probably going to get a triple threat match. Hopefully it's on the main show and not the pre-show, because the Usos have proclaimed, for 9 years they have not made the main show. Why would you put them on this year, the pre-show? Doesn't make sense. And they, more than anybody, honestly, deserve it. Now, with Wyatt and Strowman, that could present a nice little wrinkle of unpredictability. I think that would be great. It would give Wyatt something to do, because we all know fucking Wyatt needs to be thrown into the lake of reincarnation and come out as something else. How many of you guys think he's going to be thrown into the lake of reincarnation and come back as Husky Harris for like 10 seconds? And then going to be thrown back into the lake of reincarnation and come out as Bray Wyatt again? I could see them doing that. In fact, I hope that they do it. It would throw a nice little humorous twist into the match tonight. But Bray Wyatt could ultimately, seriously feed off of Braun Strowman's success and Braun Strowman's fanfare. And this would be an ample opportunity to turn Bray Wyatt babyface. It's something he sorely needs. Because Bray Wyatt, in his current state right now, dead. Dead as dead could be. Sister Abigail has more life than Bray Wyatt. I don't mind it at all. I hope it's true. Now, despite how lackluster Wyatt has been, it's hard to believe that the Wyatt family member, many believe, would go on to achieve the most, is currently most likely to miss out on a WrestleMania match or feud. Meaning that Wyatt is, he's the head of the Wyatt family. Why would he miss out on WrestleMania? Why would you not have him at WrestleMania? The story can obviously sell itself based on their history, and even though he might not be at his best right now, it would be odd to see a WrestleMania without Wyatt on the card. It would be a shame. The guy's challenging Randy Orton as the WWE champion last year and then completely left off the card this year. Just goes to show you how fucking garbage creative is. On the other hand, going in alone would certainly make Braun Strowman seem much more like a formidable force by wiping out a top tag team by himself. No, we don't need that to happen. I think Bray Wyatt is a really, really good option. I mean, there's not many options here. There's not many options. It's either Elias, Bray Wyatt, or himself. You could do maybe Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is another option, but I'd rather see Joe and Strowman feud. I don't want to see Joe and Strowman tag team. If you're going to put a tag team like that together, they might as well be beaten forever, unbeaten forever. Nobody's going to beat that team. Nobody would be believable enough to beat that team. So Samoa Joe is another option, because I don't want Joe to miss WrestleMania either, especially if he's healthy. So we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know. Elias, Bray Wyatt, Samoa Joe, possible option. We're going to have to wait and see, but the only one that I don't want to see is Braun Strowman by himself. That would be terrible. If Braun Strowman beats the Bar by himself, yeah, well, it might make Braun Strowman even bigger star just by doing it all on his own. Yeah, but you got to show concern and care for the Bar. They've done too much, and they've come such a long way, especially in Cesaro's case, to be buried by one guy at WrestleMania. Not really what I want to see. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think it is definitely an interesting option for Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Moving on here, man. There really isn't much of anything else. Before I read this final story on Daniel Bryan, I want to see if there's anything else I should be talking about here. There's nothing else. There is nothing else. This Daniel Bryan story is the last thing we're going to cover today, because there really isn't much, and the reason why I didn't do anything yesterday was A, because of my allergies, and B, there was no stories. Daniel Bryan. Everybody is talking about Daniel Bryan and what he's going to come out and say on Tuesday. I honestly think it is too late in the game for Daniel Bryan to come out and state that he's going to wrestle at WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania, honestly, I shit all over the WWE product. I'm really not as excited in WrestleMania season as I am or as I should be. But WrestleMania's card right now is, on paper, one of the strongest I've seen in years. And I mean that wholeheartedly. You look at the top of this card and you look at the potential matchups that have yet to be announced. This card looks strong. I would not waste Daniel Bryan's return on this show. I wouldn't. I think Daniel Bryan's return is too big of a moment to be overshadowed by fucking Roman Reigns. I think Daniel Bryan's return is too big to be overshadowed by Ronda Rousey and her first WrestleMania and Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. I don't think Daniel Bryan wrestling at WrestleMania is going to make any difference whatsoever. I don't think Daniel Bryan's going to wrestle at WrestleMania, period. I'd be shocked, but I don't think it's going to happen. If WWE wanted to clear him, if WWE wanted to make this match with he and Shane versus Owens and Zayn, they would have really been building towards that in recent weeks. They have not. Daniel Bryan's been off television. They've kind of gone away from the storyline. They've kind of gone away from Shane and Daniel Bryan having internal conflict. It doesn't really make all that much sense now. They built it up, went away from it, and now you want me to believe that Daniel Bryan's going to come back and proclaim that he's going to back Shane McMahon up against Zayn and Owens because they did what nobody should really be doing against SmackDown management. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan wrestle. I do, but not in this situation. I think this is far too major for WWE to just have him be on the show and then, the possibility of it being an afterthought is very likely. And I don't think WWE is going to allow Daniel Bryan to beat Daniel Bryan. I don't. Being that Shane McMahon's going to be there, I think they would give the bulk of the work in that match to Shane McMahon, and I think they'd let Daniel Bryan kind of gingerly do what he usually does, but not to the extent that we want to see. And I don't want to see that. If you're going to give me Daniel Bryan, you give me 100% of Daniel Bryan. At WrestleMania. You're not going to put Daniel Bryan on WrestleMania and then have him only go 25%. 30%. It's not fair. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to what WrestleMania really is. Now, excuse me. There is a major possible breakthrough in Daniel Bryan getting a potential in-ring return. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter has an update on Bryan as of this weekend, and if you are one of the many who want to see him back in the ring, this presents the best hope yet. Meltzer noted on Sunday that the angle shot last week involving Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn reflects that something has changed from the original WrestleMania plans. There has been movement over the past month in regards to Bryan, and Meltzer notes that protocols have taken place. He notes that new doctors have cleared Bryan in recent months, and the belief is that the hyperbaric chamber treatments that Daniel Bryan has gone through have been a success for his brain. Football legend Joe Namath did the same treatments, and he's claimed that he has seen great results. Meltzer also noted that he received word last week that there were strong moves made by Bryan as an attempt to get cleared. If he got the green light by WWE, then he would be added as McMahon's partner against Zayn and Owens. It should be noted that just a week ago, Owens and Zayn were scheduled, according to WWE's internal match lineup, for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and McMahon was not scheduled for a match at all. Plans changed, and then they scripted Owens and Zayn to brutally attack McMahon on SmackDown Live. Before the attack, McMahon announced that he would be taking a leave of absence and Bryan would be returning Tuesday. That was where we ended off. Now, we won't know until Tuesday. And even at that point, in my genuine, honest opinion, I think it's too late to announce that Daniel Bryan's coming out of retirement for WrestleMania. Because that would only leave 2.5 weeks till we get to WrestleMania. If something has broke in this saga that is Daniel Bryan, I would have wanted it to be something a little bit more important or treated as something a little bit more important. Having Daniel Bryan come out of retirement in the last 2 weeks after this card has already been given the treatment it's been given, it's going to be an afterthought. Daniel Bryan coming out of retirement, and based on who Daniel Bryan is, should be heralded as a fucking monumental moment. Seriously. I don't want him to come back and sit on the apron and not do anything that we're normally accustomed to seeing. And I don't want it to be just for the sake of finishing up a fucking storyline that WWE has been hot and cold with over the last 5 months. Now, if Daniel Bryan doesn't wrestle, if Daniel Bryan is not cleared, he's not going to get cleared at all. WWE will not allow him to wrestle. And his contract ends in September. Now, there's one major thing in Daniel Bryan's contract that is missing. Everybody was wondering when Daniel Bryan's contract is over, will he be at the All In show in September? No. Will Daniel Bryan go back to Ring of Honor? Possibly. Will Daniel Bryan go to New Japan? Will he show up at Wrestle Kingdom 13 and wrestle Okada or Kenny Omega or Kota Ibushi? Right? Possibly. Possibly. There's one thing in Daniel Bryan's contract, and his contract is set for 6 more months. This is around the time of SummerSlam. Bryan will make his exit from WWE if they don't allow him to compete anymore. However, there is a common stipulation that isn't featured in Bryan's contract, which means he could return to wrestling right after his contract is over. Now, normally when WWE has this type of stipulation, and you guys probably know what I'm talking about, WWE usually includes no compete clauses in performers' contracts to prevent them from going anywhere else immediately. And that clause usually ends up being 90 days. Meltzer revealed that Bryan's contract does not feature a no compete clause. If this happens to be the case, then this would be massive for Bryan, as almost all other superstars have a no compete clause in their contract, which means they're unable to appear for any other promotion or on TV for any other promotion for 90 days until that WWE deal is expired completely. This dates back to the Monday Night Wars. So it's something that WWE has been pretty serious about ever since. Comes as a surprise that they wouldn't include this clause in his contract, especially since he is who he is and he is so popular with everybody. Even though he isn't competing now, it'd still be a huge loss if he were to leave, because wherever he goes, people will follow and there will be a massive buzz around Daniel Bryan. So if his contract, which is set to expire on September 23rd, goes into effect, then a normal no compete clause means he wouldn't be able to appear on television for any other promotion until the end of December. This just so happens to be around the same time of Ring of Honor's Final Battle 2018. So this seems to be the ideal event for Daniel Bryan and a possible in-ring return almost immediately. However, with no compete clause inserted, Bryan is free to move and appear on television for any promotion he decides to sign with. So his fans could end up seeing him back in action sooner rather than later. That is very interesting. So if WWE doesn't allow Bryan to wrestle at WrestleMania, he isn't wrestling at all. And the fact that he's got a no-compete clause absent from his contract, that makes it even better for us, because he wants to end him because he wants to wrestle. And he wants to wrestle at full capacity, not 30 or 40% like I mentioned, by sitting on the apron waiting to get a hot tag so that he can do some yes kicks and then a yes lock. You know? Some people are okay with being at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan is one of those people that I mentioned in the beginning of this who want to do things the right way. He doesn't want to be there just because it's a WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan's done everything he can at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan was given one of the best treatments in history at WrestleMania. There's nothing more for him to prove. Daniel Bryan wants to get back in the ring and do what he loves to do. Not sit on an apron, deliver some yes kicks and a yes lock to Sami Zayn. Doesn't matter if it's WrestleMania or not. He wants to fight. So if Daniel Bryan is not cleared, if Daniel Bryan has a no-compete clause and he's planning on exiting WWE, will he be at WrestleMania? I think he will be at WrestleMania, but it won't be in the role that he wants. It'll be Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And I think Shane McMahon is going to be inserted into that match, courtesy of Daniel Bryan. He's going to make it a triple threat match, official Tuesday. This is my prediction. And I think Daniel Bryan's going to be the special guest referee for that match. Daniel Bryan could be the special guest referee in that match. And according to Meltzer, if Bryan doesn't wrestle, he said Daniel Bryan may end up being the special guest referee for all we know during this match. I mean, he's not banned from refereeing, and if he did referee a match in Chicago a couple of months ago, it would be okay for him to do this at WrestleMania. There are things he's allowed to do. It should be noted that Meltzer didn't confirm that is what WWE actually has planned for Bryan at WrestleMania. However, they certainly have the option if they want to go down that avenue and get Bryan more involved in the show. Bryan has been a top star for WWE, even in his non-wrestling days, ever since he won the title at WrestleMania 30 in the main event. You know, if Bryan is still somewhat of a wild card, it seems that Bryan is still somewhat of a wild card. We don't know. But the current situation right now between McMahon, Owens, and Zayn has certainly took a turn at Fastlane. That's the only reason why we're thinking Daniel Bryan might be cleared. Because we went from Battle Royal with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to Shane McMahon saying he's going to take a leave of absence, then getting his ass kicked. So Tuesday is the day. If Daniel Bryan does not say anything about him wrestling Tuesday, then it's not going to be. That's it. It's a done deal, and he's not going to come back to the WWE. He's not going to wrestle in WWE again. So, one of the many candidates for Shane's partner at WrestleMania, you know, Daniel Bryan seems to be the most logical choice. There are rumors that it could be Vince McMahon. It makes no sense. Rumors that it could be Dolph Ziggler. That doesn't make any sense because Dolph Ziggler has nothing to do with this storyline. Triple threat match or Daniel Bryan is the only way to go here. You know? But it's Tuesday. And my honest opinion is that it's way too late in the game to announce something this massive. You don't announce Daniel Bryan coming out of retirement after 4 years, 2.5 weeks before WrestleMania. You don't. If this is something that you wanted to do, you know you want to clear Daniel Bryan well before Tuesday. Don't clear him for the sake of getting him on the show. And I've been told from sources, reliable sources, that Daniel Bryan has already turned down this tag team match for WrestleMania, citing the reasons that most of the time he'd be on the apron anyway. So we're going to have to wait till Tuesday. But I don't think, A, something like that should be treated that lightly, and B, you know, with 2 weeks left to go, I think it would be overshadowed by a lot of other things happening on that show. Undertaker, Reigns winning the title, Nakamura and AJ Styles, Rousey. There's just too many things happening at WrestleMania to put Daniel Bryan on that show. That should be one of the top things billed at WrestleMania if you're going to allow that to happen. And it's not. Hasn't been treated as such, and I don't want it to happen if it's this late in the game. That is all the news I have on Daniel Bryan, man. I'm getting out of here. It is 1 o'clock. Hopefully this is up by 2:30. And we'll cover Monday Night Raw tonight for the ultimate deletion between Woke and Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. Thank you guys so much. If you missed Off the Script this weekend, live on the channel right now, go and check it out. Part 1, we talk about... I don't know. What the fuck did we talk about on Part 1? I don't even remember. I know Part 2, we talked about the Bravo evidence. And Part 1, we talked about the American Badass. The Undertaker coming back as the American Badass. My opinion on that. And the weekend review of WWE. Go and check that out. Also, there is a off-the-script extra from last Thursday. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar should not main event WrestleMania, and my opinion on that. So if you missed any of my other videos, please go and check them out. And I will see you guys tonight for Monday Night Raw and the ultimate deletion. Follow me on Twitter at JDFROMNY206. Hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys tonight for Monday Night Raw.